When Janite Lee won the lottery in 1993, she became an instant symbol of the American dream. A South Korean immigrant who had once struggled to make ends meet, she went from selling wigs in a small shop to winning an astounding $18 million in the Illinois state lottery. Her story seemed to represent everything people believed about opportunity, hard work, and luck. But behind that dream, her journey would soon become a cautionary tale of generosity without boundaries, a reminder that good intentions, without financial wisdom, can lead to ruin just as easily as greed can. Before her life changed overnight, Janite Lee's background was humble and filled with the familiar struggles of building a new life in a foreign country. She emigrated from South Korea to the United States with her husband and children, seeking a better life like so many others. The family settled near St. Louis, Missouri, where Janite ran a modest wig shop. Her days were long, the profits were small, and every dollar had to stretch. Still, she worked tirelessly to provide for her family, and to give them opportunities she never had. For years, her story was one of quiet determination and persistence. Then, in 1993, everything changed. Janite bought a ticket for the Illinois state lottery and discovered she had the winning numbers for an $18 million jackpot. To most people, that amount would be unimaginable, a ticket to lifelong comfort, freedom, and financial security. She chose to take her winnings in annual installments of roughly $620,000 per year, before taxes, for 20 years. For a family that had never known such wealth, it felt like a miracle. Almost immediately, Janite began to share her newfound fortune with others. But unlike many winners who squander their money on luxury cars or mansions, Janite's spending was rooted in generosity and giving. She believed deeply in philanthropy and in the idea that wealth should help improve society. She gave to political causes, charities, universities, and community organizations. Her heart was enormous, and that, ironically, became her downfall. Janite quickly became known for her political donations. She contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Democratic Party and to several high-profile politicians, including Bill Clinton, Al Gore, and Ted Kennedy. Her contributions opened doors to political circles that were once unimaginable for someone who had immigrated from another country with almost nothing. She attended political dinners, rubbed shoulders with influential figures, and was even seated near presidents and vice presidents at elite events. Her rise in social standing was as dramatic as her lottery win, and she genuinely believed that supporting leaders would help create positive change in the world. But Janite's generosity didn't stop with politics. She also donated large sums to education and community projects. One of her most notable gifts was a $1 million donation to Washington University in St. Louis, which funded the establishment of a law library that bore her name, the Janite Lee Reading Room. She also gave significant amounts to the University of Southern California and other schools. Locally, she donated to charities that supported underprivileged families and children. Her giving spirit earned her praise and recognition, and she became a respected figure in her community. Unfortunately, the same generosity that earned her admiration also quickly drained her resources. Janite did not seem to understand how much she was giving away compared to what she was bringing in. Even though her lottery payments were large, they were not infinite. The more she donated, the more people came to her for help, and she had a difficult time saying no. It seemed that every person or organization that asked received something. At the same time, she began to enjoy the lifestyle that came with wealth and influence. She moved into a $1.6 million home in the exclusive suburb of Ladue, Missouri, one of the wealthiest communities in the state. She purchased luxury cars, jewelry, and designer clothing. She enjoyed being part of social circles that had previously been out of reach. But this spending, combined with her continuous generosity, began to take a toll on her finances. Janite Lee's story stands out because she wasn't reckless in the traditional sense. She wasn't gambling, addicted to drugs, or obsessed with partying. Her problem was rooted in kindness and the desire to help others. However, without financial literacy or professional guidance, her giving became unsustainable. Over time, her expenses began to exceed her income. She borrowed money to maintain her lifestyle and continued to make donations that she couldn't afford. By the late 1990s, just a few years after her win, her financial troubles were becoming severe. She still had several years of lottery payments left, but much of her income was already committed to debts and obligations. The woman who had once been celebrated for her generosity was now quietly slipping into financial crisis. In 2001, less than a decade after her windfall, Janite Lee filed for bankruptcy. Court documents revealed that despite her multi-million-dollar lottery win, she had only about $700 in her bank account. She owed creditors over $2.5 million, including a $350,000 mortgage on her home, credit card debts, and personal loans. Even more shocking, her remaining lottery payments were largely pledged to pay off those debts. The bankruptcy filing listed assets that included furniture, jewelry, and personal items, but nothing close to the fortune she had once controlled. Her generosity had effectively bankrupted her. In interviews and reports that followed, many people expressed disbelief that someone who had received $18 million could lose it so quickly. But her case highlighted a common pattern among lottery winners: sudden wealth without proper management often leads to disaster, no matter how noble the intentions. Janite's situation drew national attention. News outlets covered her story as another example of how the lottery curse can strike even those with the best intentions. Yet, in her case, the lesson wasn't about greed, it was about uncontrolled generosity. She had given millions to others while forgetting to protect her own future. The people and institutions that benefited from her donations were grateful, but few offered help when she needed it most. Despite her bankruptcy, Janite remained gracious and kind. Those who knew her described her as humble and compassionate, never bitter about her situation. She continued to believe in charity and the idea of helping others, even if her own financial resources had disappeared. Her downfall was not due to selfishness or corruption, but rather to a heart that gave more than it could sustain. In hindsight, financial experts often use her story as a lesson in balance, the importance of generosity paired with responsibility. If she had placed her lottery winnings into investments, trusts, or even hired professional financial advisors, she could have continued to donate responsibly for decades without ever going broke. But Janite trusted her instincts and emotions more than professional advice, and in doing so, she unintentionally gave away her security. The tragedy of her story lies in how her good deeds were not enough to save her from hardship. She wanted to lift others up, but in the end, she was left with little to show for her once great fortune. The law library at Washington University still stands as a lasting testament to her generosity, a quiet reminder of how one woman's heart changed lives even as it cost her everything she had. Today, Janite Lee's story serves as a powerful example of how wealth, without wisdom, can disappear almost as quickly as it arrives. Her kindness is undeniable, her intentions pure, but her financial downfall is a lesson to anyone who comes into sudden riches. Giving is noble, but sustainability is essential. If she had balanced her heart with a financial plan, she might have created a charitable foundation that continued her legacy for generations. Instead, her fortune became another chapter in the long list of lottery winners who lost it all. Yet, unlike many others who fell to greed or addiction, Janite's story remains one of compassion, a reminder that even the most generous heart needs discipline to endure. In the end, Janite Lee will be remembered as the woman who gave until she had nothing left to give. Her $18 million win could have secured her comfort for life, but her giving nature wouldn't allow her to hold on to it. She believed money had a purpose beyond herself, and even though that belief cost her everything, it also defined her legacy. She didn't lose because she was careless, she lost because she cared too much. If you want more of this lottery stories, please like and subscribe to True Lottery Stories, so we can bring you the hidden stories of lottery winners.